Look around. What's different? Artificial intelligence, curriculum, society. So much is changing. But how about us? Have we changed? How can we not, right? It's a question we ask on this edition of the Educators Among Us podcast.
Welcome to the Educators Among Us podcast, where we share motivational messages and inspiring stories for and about educators. Your host, Scott Barron, is author of the critically acclaimed book, Love 'Em and Lead 'Em, and provides powerful insights and wisdom for those who heed the call to teach, coach, lead, and serve at all levels of education.
This is Scott Barron, and I'm honored to be your host for the Educators Among Us podcast. This is a different kind of show just because we love educators. We love to see them, rekindle that fire every day, every week, every month, and bring it every day because that's the responsibility of those who answer that call, who teach, who coach, who serve in administration, who serve on the board, who serve in the lunchroom or in the facilities team or wherever it is, driving the bus even, right? Educators make a huge difference in the lives of others. And we're so thankful for you and for those that are able to be there for others, who provide that inspiration, who are prepared and not only with a curriculum and with coaching and guidance, but also just to be there, just to be present and to understand that growing up is hard. Educators are responsible for growth of themselves as well as others, and they answer that challenge with a great deal of energy and insight and intelligence, and we're so thankful for those who do the work, and so we celebrate that, and we also provide hopefully some perspective to provide an encouragement for you. We get to share, every Monday morning we share a weekly encouragement. We call it the weekly encouragement for educators, and it goes out to now several thousand subscribers around the world, and I've had educators who would reach out and say, "Man, I use your guidance on some of my own personal growth and what I'm doing. Like I listen to your podcast when I'm driving into work, or we use it as a part of our professional development program." And so it's just, which is an honor, of course, because that's why we do this, is we're trying to encourage and elevate those who educate. And so thank you for your commitment to that work and for being here for a moment. Change is one of those things that, it's inevitable, of course, and at least for most of us, right? Some of us try to resist that change as much as we can. And so I had an interesting conversation the other day. It was about change, and there was this situation where that we'd gone to lunch together, and the three of us had gone different directions over the last few years, and in pursuit of different opportunities and new adventures, and so this informal reunion that we had a chance to connect. We were at an education conference, and it gave us a good time to catch up. And after we talked about different things. How's the job going? How's the family, et cetera. And after we kind of gone through a lot of those more trivial things, one of the guys, Steven, looked over at Joe with an unusual intent. And he said, Joe, you've really changed, right? And it was sort of a moment where, because he'd gone through a lot of challenges in his life and other things that were going on. He had as a child and was growing up, and it was interesting to me because Joe took a moment. He said, with a notable pause, and what appeared to be a lot of memories flashing through his eyes. I mean, you could see him pondering for a moment. Joe then responded with insight that is now it's lodged in my mind, and I want to share it with you. He said, how could I not change? How could I not change? What a powerful thought, right? It's like John F. Kennedy once said, change is the law of life. And those who look only to the past or the present are certain to miss the future. Change is the law of life. And that's true. And I think Joe had discovered that, where, he wasn't uncomfortable with change. He wasn't uncomfortable with understanding that physically he had changed, intellectually he had changed, spiritually he had changed. He was growing up. Right. And that's a challenge for all of us, that we have to understand, hey, life doesn't stop. Life doesn't stop for anything or for anyone. So we smartly, especially as educators, we smartly change, right? In order to adapt. Right? And of course, it was Viktor Frankl who said, when we are no longer able to change a situation, well, guess what? We are challenged to change ourselves, to change us, right? And that's just part of the journey is understanding that, learning to change requires accepting that new ways, they can be found, and actually must be found to get through it. We have to figure this out, and life doesn't come with a manual that says, "Hey, here's sort of a checkbox." There's no YouTube that we can watch to figure out all these different things that we're encountering. Instead of exhausting our energy and intelligence on protecting what's supposed to be, right, the way we intended it to be or want it to be, we have to adapt. Life is hard. Life doesn't stop, and life is hard, and we have to figure it out in the moment and make the best of what is. Not lost in the mythology of what should be, but accepting what is. How can we not change? What a powerful question, right? How can we not change? Even though it can be painful. It can be painful to learn new perspectives. It can be painful to learn new practices, even to connect with and learn new people, right? But it's more painful to definitely remain stuck in yesterday, to remain stuck in our mindset, to remain stuck in yesteryear. And sometimes we create a bit of a fable about how great things used to be. Well, listen, life goes on, and that's a part of our challenge, is to be able to step into the moment and take it on, right? Because it's like Job once said, but he knows the way I take. Our Father knows the way that I take. And when he has tested me, I will come forth as gold. Those tests are actually a refinement. Those tests are actually a chance for us to become even better. And the only way to grow is through it, right? So how could we not change? By purposefully researching and trying new approaches. How could we not change? By seeking and listening to wise feedback from others, because we want to grow, right? How could we not change? By spending time with people who we seek to emulate, right? They have the habits, they have the successes, they have the knowledge that we want to learn from, and so we spend time with them, right? How could we not change? By faithful pursuit of our greater calling from above. How could we not change? By humbly accepting we don't have all the answers and being comfortable with that. How could we not change? It's a powerful question, and it's one that continues to resonate in my mind, is to think it through. How do I then change purposefully? How do I change in ways that contributes to my goals? It contributes to my faith. It contributes to what I really believe in. So allow yourself the leeway to change and adapt this week, my friend. preserving and persevering through the test that will emerge, but they'll make you stronger and more refined. Take them on. Take on the challenge of change and adaptation, because flexibility is a sign of intelligence, right? Hey, thank you for what you do. Thank you for the courage to be there, to show up and to learn, to adapt, to grow. Your influence changes lives. It changes lives in sometimes ways that you don't even know, and you may never know. But your influence as an educator has a multiplying effect. And so we encourage you to stay the course, to continue to find ways to battle through whatever is going on in your personal life, whatever is going on in your professional life. There are a multitude of challenges, and I cannot tell you, as we work with different administrators and other leaders in education, we see them navigating through just incredible challenges. I was just on a coaching session today with an educator who, she's going through some just very significant challenges with her family, as well as in trying to do multiple jobs, wearing multiple hats, and navigating conflict and having to deal with some very, very difficult situations. And that's not an unusual narrative. It's part of the journey, and she's learning how to change and how to grow through it. And you have to do the same. So as you're going through those challenges, one is we ask you to invite others to join us in this journey of encouragement and uplifting the role of the educator and the perspective. But also, as you're going through this week, a coaching question to consider, right? Did I do my best to purposefully change today? Did I do my best to purposefully change today? Love him and lead him, my friend. This is Scott.
Thank you for joining us for the Educators Among Us podcast and for your courageous commitment to this noble calling. We get you and the challenges of this work. To stay connected with this community, be sure to subscribe to our podcast and weekly encouragement at educatorsamongus.com.